Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. So in today's video we are going to be talking about Crassula Campfire. Now of late I have been getting a lot of requests on this succulent. Now guys, I had ample amount of Crassula Campfire which were around 4 inches in size, but I lost them while shifting from one place to another. If you remember that disaster container that I had wherein a lot of my Crassula Campfires were dumped. Now this was the only one that I was able to survive, and it has started to put out a pup. Now guys, Crassula Campfire is one of the most hardiest succulent. I always advise that if you are a beginner, you can definitely add this in your collection. But there is a small problem. Now I did get a request sometime back that their Crassula Campfire died during the summer. So I was quite surprised as to why, because as I've said this, it's a very hardy succulent. So I checked with the person what was the exact temperature during the summers, and the person had kept his succulent outdoor and the temperatures were above 40 degrees Celsius during summers. So of course guys, if you're going to keep your succulent, a dormant succulent out in full sun at 40 degrees Celsius, the succulent will definitely die. No matter how hardy the succulent is, it will definitely die. Now I'll tell you the reason why. Now guys, you need to understand Crassula Campfire or the Crassula variety tends to go dormant during the summers. The reason why it tends to go dormant during the summers and not during the winters is because Crassulas cannot handle too much of heat. So what happens exactly is Crassula Campfire, they do not like too much of warmth, or they do not like too much of heat. The moment they feel that the environment or the temperature is getting a little warm, they start getting into the dormant period, meaning they tend to hibernate throughout the summer period. Now you can imagine with slightest warmth they tend to go dormant. So you can imagine what's going to happen if the temperatures are going to be above 40 degrees Celsius. They do not like heat, and that's the reason why they tend to go dormant, because they cannot handle even the slightest amount of heat. Now when I'm talking about slightest amount of heat, anything between 35 to 37 degrees Celsius is something that they will not be able to handle, and they will completely get into a shutdown mode. Now when I say that they get into their dormancy period is when they tend to completely shut down on their growth. They completely hibernate. They are not going to take up any water. They are not going to grow anymore. They are going to completely shut down during the summer period. So you need to understand a particular succulent does not like a particular climate, meaning that they do not like a lot of warmth, and hence they go dormant. So imagine when your temperatures are going to be above 40 degrees Celsius, it's going to be like terribly hot. The succulent that cannot handle a slight amount of heat is being exposed to 40 degrees Celsius of heat is going to completely melt down, and that's the reason why your succulent tends to die. So if you are from a place wherein the temperatures are very hot, so the only option is you'll have to get your succulents indoor and grow them under a grow light. But if you're going to have a temperature that is that extreme, and if you're going to keep your succulents outdoor, you cannot expect them to grow, or you cannot expect them to be healthy. They will definitely start to melt. They will either have dry rot or they are going to get completely destroyed, because one, the succulent has already got into its dormant period, which means that it's not going to take up water. You are going to end up adding a lot of water on it, and it is going to get rotted. So either the succulent will have a dry rot because of the heat and the dryness, and if you're watering it, the succulent is dormant. If you're going to water it, the succulent cannot take that water, and the succulent will get rotted. The roots will get rotted because there is going to be moisture. The succulent is not taking up any of that water because it's dormant, it's completely shut down, and you're going on adding water. That will lead to overwatering, and the succulent roots will get rotted. So because it's a rule that whenever a particular plant is dormant, you never tend to add too much of water, because the roots can easily get rotted. We only tend to add a little bit of water so that the roots do not get dried up. But when you're going to add excess amount of water to a succulent that is dormant, that will definitely rot the roots. Even during dormancy, during summers, we tend to add a little bit of water so that the roots do not dry up. But it's not essentially for the succulent to take up the water, because at that point of time the succulent completely shuts down. It does not take up any water, but we just need to keep that roots alive. So that's the reason why we tend to add a little bit of water, not too much. So that was all about it. If you have a very extreme temperature, you know that your temperatures are going to be extreme. Now let's say that very soon we are going to get into our winters, and there is a lot of time for the next summers. So if you know that you are from a place wherein the temperatures are very high during summer, so you need to start preparing it. You need to make a setup well in advance, so as and when the summers tend to come, you can keep them in indoor, or you can keep into a setup where you have made it for your succulents. Now I do get a lot of these questions that all this while my succulent was doing quite well, but now my succulent has died. So that is basically because it was doing quite well in that particular season. Probably the environment was very good enough, but very soon as the seasons change, the temperatures also change, and the succulent cannot handle that kind of temperature, and that's why the succulent either gets a dry rot or gets overwatered or completely melts down because of the extreme temperature. So you need to keep in mind all of these, because environment plays a very important role. The temperature plays a very important role in the growth of succulents. Temperature is something that determines whether the succulent is going to get into its growing period or it's going to get into its dormant period. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.